Good afternoon.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Very
Visible?
much.
Okay.
Very much. Clear.
Vikas ji, good evening to you. How are you, Mr. Goel?
I am good, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. All well, all set.
Yep.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
How are you, Vikas?
I am good, ma'am. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure, ma'am. Always my pleasure.
So we are waiting to listen to you. I think we'll start in another 2-3 minutes time.
Yes, all set. I think quite a lot of people have joined also. Looks
Yeah,
good.
but I think you still need to get a few more, right?
Yeah, we're just waiting for some more. And I think on the course of the meeting, I think some more people will also join.
Mhm.
Only 1 minute late. You please start after 1 minute. Okay. It is 4:59.
Yeah. Good. So has everyone joined?
Yes. You can start.
We're good to go. Okay. So good evening, everyone, and good evening to all the students, faculties, colleagues, and a very warm welcome to Calcutta Business School and yet another fantastic webinar that we have in front of all of you. Let me warmly welcome all of you. I welcome the principal of the Calcutta Business School as well as the chairman. I also welcome the Secretary General as well as Mr. Saurabh Ghosh, who is also our senior consultant. And most importantly, I welcome Mr. Vikas Goel, who is going to be our eminent speaker for the evening. So as you know, nothing much to add about Calcutta Business School, ranked twice, ranked number 2 in the Eastern Zone as far as business management schools are concerned. Not to go too much into it, belongs to the Sikshayatan Foundation, which is today more than 100 years old as an education foundation by itself. So we conduct these kind of fantastic and innovative webinars from time to time for students like you and for also to educate our own selves with eminent speakers like Mr. Vikas Goel, with eminent speakers and learned people like Dr. Shuman Kumar Da, who is our principal as well. Okay. So today's webinar's topic is going to be extremely important for all of you and extremely interesting also, which is called Grab the Job. One of the most relevant, topics, or one of the most relevant, I would say, and the most contemporary and most seeked about, topic perhaps today. When we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about, exclusive businesses, I think Mr. Vikas Goel is going to enlighten all of us into this. Let me introduce Mr. Vikas Goel, who is our speaker today. Vikas is the director of Omnifin Solutions Private Limited, a boutique professional services firm with interest in valuation, training, and recruitment. In 2017, he became the first generation entrepreneur after working with companies like PwC, EY, ICA, and Zacks Research in India and also abroad for almost 11 years. He is a chartered accountant, a CFA, holds a master degree in finance and an MBA as well. He is an alumnus of St. Xavier's College and IIM Kolkata. He is a trainer and an instructional designer from the USA. He's also a registered valuer, having completed valuation engagements and counts some of the largest listed companies across. Vikas is an author also for a handbook on valuation of securities and financial assets, published by the Bloomsbury. Okay. So Vikash has designed programs like finance for non-finance managers, student mentoring programs, women mentoring programs, and Grab the Job, among many others that benefit thousands of participants year after year. Let me also introduce Dr. Shuman Kumar Da, who is our principal and also the chairman for the school. Okay, so Dr. Da has obtained the degrees in MSc, which is Mathematics from IIT Kharagpur, and MBA Marketing, and also earned his PhD from the University of Bardhaman. He is also the NET, which is in Management, and GATE qualified and a research fellow in ICSSR New Delhi under the MHRD, Government of India. He has accumulated 27 years of teaching, research, administration, and industry experience, and has published more than 30 publications in referred to national and international journals, and attended several international and national conferences as well as seminars. So with this, I welcome Dr. Shuman Da to take over as a moderator and introduce, and I also welcome our Secretary General who is there, Mrs. Bratati Bhattacharya, and I welcome all of you once again, and I'm sure all of you are going to have a fabulous time with a lot of question and answer session, a very innovative question and answer session with Mr. Vikas Goel. Over to Dr. Shuman Da. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrajit Mitro. Thank you, our Secretary General, Mrs. Bhatati Bhattacharya, who is present right now.
Yeah, thank you. And good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. Welcome our students as well as all the faculty members and our distinguished speaker, Mr. Vikas Goel. And this is indeed a very important topic. And as Chandrajit already told us that it is very contemporary. It is important since students do not know their characteristics, or which we call the traits, before facing any placement interview. So placement process is very important, and we are all eager to grab a job. After that, at the time of passing out the college, they must be aware about the strengths and weaknesses. The job market today is very competitive than ever before, and it is shrinking as the Indian economy is also at time also it is also booming, and the middle class is expanding at historical levels. There are several reasons or causes for this cutthroat competition atmosphere. Perhaps the most obvious is the relatively few well-paying jobs in proportion to the number of new graduates each year. So I shall highlight the complications. So there are few parameters. The complications in recruitment process. Number one, securing good marks, writing a lot of competitions, winning also a lot of competitions, and being exceptional in internships are not enough, because there will always be people out there who are very big as competent and hardworking as the candidates are. It is even more so for the recruiters, because hiring an incompetent person can cause innumerable financial and reputational repercussions to their organizations. So what would be the correct chances of securing a good job? This is very important. Number one needs to get a number of things checked before at the time of applying the jobs, including identity, address, educational qualifications, work history record, and criminal record properly assessed by the established firm. Also securing character references from a credible source as possible.
ICANN Academy?
Now, there are
actually, I have ordered a book on Monday, hopefully 29th, on the holy day.
May I request everyone to mute their mics, please?
Please mute your microphone, please. So provide details. That details one needs to submit detail. Ensure that every kind of information must be provided with references, and it should be given in their CV. The sum of the total of these actions will assure recruiters that not only this person is a clean applicant, but also have a strong initiative that would greatly benefit their organization.
कल मॉर्निंग तक ट्रैकिंग आईडी बुक अच्छा तब हम ट्रैक कर पाएंगे इनबॉक्स पे आएगा या
Ankita Ghosh, can you mute your mic?
I think one of the moderators may do it, may not be hearing us.
Ankita Ghosh, you mute your microphone. So now there are another things, because at the time of when they want to recruit the person, they also want to get information from the candidate. So from the social media, other media, from the web, from the Facebook or any type of information, they want to gather the information about the candidate. So it means that you have to be very clean, and you have to remove all content which could harm the job prospects that the company wants to recruit in near future. And procuring credit report, that also very, very important nowadays. It is equally important and includes a person credit history. So credit report is very, very important. Why credit report? Because bank details one is the company now for the senior position, bank wants to get clear information about the credit history of a person. Income tax returns and bank statements also are very important. One needs to submit these all types of information. So the most important criteria, I have jotted down 12 important criteria that one should remember when this person will submit his full CV to the company. And also they must inculcate this type of attributes, this type of traits. One needs to concentrate and also strengthen these characteristics. Number one, the decision-making criteria is very, very important nowadays, because company wants to hire who has the capability to take the decision. Number two, multitasking people. Company always wants this multitasking people. Now, creative problem solving, number three, is very, very important. Creative problem solving is very important. Collaboration type of nature, that one has to work under a team. So one has to work under a team, because nowadays you cannot sign, you cannot do wholehearted, you cannot do solely. Number five, communication is very, very important. One must strengthen his communication skill. Professionalism is very important. Integrity, honesty is very important for grab a job. And management, one must have the knowledge about the management structure. So the basic management knowledge is very important, in which area he is working, in which company is working, that is very important. Initiative, that is very, very important. Initiative, one must have the zeal, one must have the force. Empathy, that is very important. Leadership, under the leadership, one must to inculcate the leadership criteria. One is now at present, all over the world, every organization wants this type of leadership capability, who has the participative leadership skill and teamwork. So under the teamwork, under the team, one must do excel. So these 12 characteristics, 12 traits, one must strengthen these traits. If they can strengthen 12 characteristics, I think that grabbing a job will not be difficult. So this is, I will not extend my this speech. So we look forward for the thought-provoking lecture session from Mr. Goel. So what to Mr. Goel, Vikas Goel. And then after your session, our students will also ask questions, and also there will be the vote of thanks. Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Goel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I hope I am audible to all of you. Sir,
Yes,
you can.
yes,
Okay. And I can share my
Yes.
screen, right?
clear.
Yeah. Okay. Confirming if you can see my screen as well. Mr. Don, can you just confirm if the screen is visible to you?
It is visible.
It's visible. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Shri Shri Chaitanya Foundation, Mrs. Bratati Bhattacharya, Mr. Mitro, and Mr. Don. Always a pleasure coming on this forum and interacting with students. And I was taking notes as as Professor Suman Don spoke about what are the important skill sets, the 12 characteristics that are required. I'm going to build up on that, right? And all I'm going to do over the next 45 minutes is to share my experiences as a professional, as somebody who's conducted thousands of interviews. We help to place almost 300, 400 odd students and professionals every year. So we'll bring that experience into this next 45 minutes and talk about this. So when you talk about grab the job, right? We've got 3 small snippets out of it. The first one is resume writing. So what's the first thing that we do when we start looking for a job, right? We start writing a resume. And the best way to write a resume is to ask your senior how they have made a CV, and you just tailor their CV and make your resume, right? So if your senior got a job, you think you will also get a job. If they did not get a job, you will also not get a job. So the best way is to take a senior's resume who's already got a job, right? And you just change your percentages. Is that the way it works? I would be expecting the participants to use the chat window so that we can make this a little interactive, right? Is that how you make your CV or what? Do you simply copy paste or tailor your senior CV, or you make it up? Make it on your own, right? So always.
Some of them will.
So remember that your resume, or we also call it CV, is your personal selling brochure, right? That's what it is. And that is what the job of a CV is, that it should help you land at the interview table, right? When you're sending your resume, when you're sending your CV to somebody, the person who's looking at your resume should be able to find your resume interesting enough so that they would want to see you in person or conduct an interview with you. And do you know how much time does a potential, right? Any idea at all? A potential recruiter spends about 15 seconds, right? 15 seconds looking at your resume. So whatever time you spend on making your resume, it should cut the ice with the potential recruiter in less than 15 seconds. If 15 seconds, if the recruiter thinks that yes, the resume makes sense, within 15 seconds, that's when the recruiter is going to spend more time looking at your CV in more details. Now, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to help you understand the whole hiring process from the recruiter's perspective so that you can step into their shoes and find out what is the best way. How would you hire yourself? Are you hireable at all in the company, right? So before even your resume reaches the interviewer, right? So just imagine, imagine if Goldman Sachs or any other company for that matter comes up with a hiring proposition for, let's say, some finance students. They might get more than 4,000 applications, right? Even if they're looking to hire 4 people only. So do you think that the recruiter will actually go through 4,000 applications? The answer is no. They will not go through 4,000 applications. It is virtually, practically impossible to go through so many applications that the company gets. So what do you do, right? Here's my first and the most important tip for the day, which is read the job description carefully. If there is one thing that you want to take away from today's session, it is this slide. Read the job description carefully, update the CV and tailor it according to the job description, and add relevant keywords from the job description in your CV. Imagine this, right? If I am hiring for, let's say, valuations profile, or if I'm hiring somebody for a marketing profile, what am I going to do if I am a recruiter, right? First of all, a recruiter may not know what a person would be doing in a marketing role or in a valuations role. Remember that there is a business team in the company and there is a recruitment team in the company. The job of the recruiter is to find the right mix, find the right fit candidate for the business team. So what the recruiter does is they ask the business team that, okay, you need a valuations guy. Tell me what is the valuation guy supposed to be doing? What would this person be doing in the role? So the business team gives them a job description. The job description tells them that these are the activities that the person would be doing in this role. And these are the skill sets the person should have. These are the qualifications the person should have, right? Now, more than 85% of the people do not read the job description. They don't read the job description. And therefore, you think, okay, it's a marketing role. I have done my specialization in marketing. I just apply. Now, the problem is you have not read the job description at all. You have not read whether it's a work from home opportunity or a work from office opportunity. You don't know whether it's a field job or whether it's a desk job. You don't know whether it is a business development role or a sales role, right? You have not read the job description. And therefore, you keep on applying to hundreds of companies and you get interview calls from barely 5, 6, or 10 of them. So it's very important to read the job description carefully. Once again, if I am one of the recruiters and I have received 4,000 applications, how am I going to select you for the interview? I cannot go through 4,000 applications. So what I would be doing is I would be putting, so if all the 4,000 applications come to my software, my ERP or my Gmail or whichever application I'm using, right? In all of those applications, I would be searching for the keywords. Okay. So for example, in your marketing role, if you have done digital marketing and I'm looking for digital marketing skill sets, I would be keying in the word digital marketing. I would be keying in words like AdWords or AdSense or things like that. Similarly, if you're going for a valuations role, I would be looking at financial analysis, ratio analysis, right? Discounted cash flow, etc., etc. So you add the relevant keywords from the job description in your CV. Now, Vikash, where can I add it? What if I am a fresher? How can I write ratio analysis? How can I write AdWords or AdSense or whatever it is, right? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about this in this session today. Okay. Please feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Okay. Now, what should you include in your CV? The first thing is a career objective. Now, what most people end up doing is they copy the career objective from somewhere else. The best career objective is something that Google tells you. So you ask Google, hey Google, I'm a fresher in I'm an MBA fresher in marketing. What should be my career objective? And the Google says, Levats, this is your career objective. And you write that. Come on, right? That's the most cliched thing that you can get. So any recruiter who goes through hundreds of CVs every day, by looking at your career objective, would be able to tell that it is copy pasted from Google, right? So make it yours. Don't copy the career objective and try other headings, right? It doesn't have to be career objective all the time. So it could be a profile summary, a profile snapshot, a resume headline. And my favorite is about me, right? And just imagine how much you can write about me. You can say, I'm a team building person. I'm a result oriented person. I am I am driven by ethical behavior and I am a tech savvy person, right? I believe in constant learning, etc., etc., etc. You can talk about your traits and make it yours. Right? Do not copy the career objective. Then people have academic and professional qualifications. So again, it's a waste of space. There is no need to have two different sections. You can have one common section, right? You may be pursuing, you started with class 10, you moved to class 12, you moved into BCom or your graduation, and immediately after graduation, you've gone in for a master's degree program, right? And you might be pursuing some professional courses alongside. So you could be doing a CA or a CFA or an actuaries or whatever it is, right? But it's all Club together. So have one single section for your academic and professional qualifications. Do mention your credits. It could be CGPA, it could be percentage, but do mention that. And have one compact section which talks about academic and professional qualifications, and that's it. Okay. Now, this is the most important part of your CV. The most important part, right? Now, this work experience includes internships, mind you. Okay. And now when you're doing internships, you might have done a 2 months internship, you might have done a 6 weeks internship, you might have done a 6 months internship, whatever you have done, whether it is work experience or internship, elaborate your contribution into the firm. What have you learned there? What have you contributed there? Don't stop at just mentioning the name of the company where you've done your internship, right? You could have done some volunteering work, right? You may have organized some events. So let's say, what do you do if you have no internships and no work experience at all? Were you a part of the your college fest organizing committee in your college? If yes, write that here. Now, what do you do when you organize a college fest, right? What do you do? Imagine, organize. Why do our colleges have this fest in the first place? Is this an entertainment event? The answer is no, it is not an entertainment event. Just imagine organizing a simple college fest involves so many managerial traits, right? You've gone in for sponsorships, you've volunteered for, you've created ideas for different events, you have coordinated with all the other students, you've coordinated with students of other colleges, you've called up the guests and invited them for judging the events, you have helped them in hospitality towards all those judges, right? There is so many things that goes into creating or organizing a college fest. Write that you were responsible for raising funds, or you were responsible for hospitality of the judges, or you were responsible for creating or ideating the events, etc., etc. Talk about that, right? Remember, no work is a small work. So whatever work experiences you have, whatever internships, whatever volunteering events that you might have done, put it in your CV so that me as a recruiter can see that, yes, you've done some meaningful work and you are able to articulate it. Remember, Professor Don was just talking about the 12 characteristics, and one of them is communication skills. If you have done something and you're not able to express that, you're not able to write about it, you're not able to talk about it, it's better not done at all. It is incomplete if you're not able to explain what you have done. Okay, so highlight the work rather than the client names. I mean, don't just talk about, I was responsible for organizing the college fest. That doesn't mean anything. There were probably 50 people who were organizing the college fest. Talk about your contribution there. Okay. If you've done any other courses, right? You've taken up a course at Coursera or Udemy or any other places, talk about those career advancement. Right? I find it very interesting when people write about their fields of interest and they call it hobbies. And as part of their hobbies, they talk about 12, 13 cliched hobbies like listening to music or talking to friends or watching videos or traveling and cooking and baking and playing cricket and playing badminton. Again, I find it, first of all, hobby to me is a very casual word. We should look at something which is more professional. Maybe you may call it fields of interest. Second, listening to music. Now, who doesn't like listening to music, right? Who doesn't? Everyone likes listening to music. Maybe some of the other kind. Somebody might like Ravinder Sangeet, somebody might like Bollywood, somebody might like rock music, but everyone likes music, right? So there is no point in writing that and wasting space. Think about this. Let's say you want to get into mergers and acquisitions. You're a finance person and you want to get into mergers and acquisitions, but you have no interest in mergers and you have no experience in mergers and acquisitions. The only exposure you have around mergers and acquisitions is maybe you studied that as part of your curriculum, but you really liked it. You've read about it, you've heard this, and now you want to get a job there. Now, the problem is an organization may not call you for an interview if they do not find your experience or your internship in mergers and acquisitions. What can you do about it? Use the space, use this field to highlight your interest. Remember, we're talking about interest, right? And remember, your resume is your selling brochure. So you say that I've studied about it, I am very interested in it, but I have no experience there. But I'm looking forward to getting an experience in mergers and acquisitions. Now, you can't just write mergers and acquisitions in fields of interest and let it be like that. No, you will really have to read it through, look at the case studies, look at the news, look at the concepts around mergers and acquisitions, write it in your fields of interest, and now you are creating chances for yourself so that you may be called for the interview, right? That's the unconventional way of pushing your CV through an organization where you otherwise don't stand great chances. Okay, so for fields of interest, if you have a really nice area of interest, maybe you go for trekking every year, or you run 3 marathons every year, or you are a national level basketball player, or whatever it is, that could be one field of interest, which is the genuine fields of interest, number one. Number two, if you have conventional fields of interest, like listening to music or playing cricket or playing badminton, etc., you better be able to explain why that is your field of interest, how it benefits you at all. Third, to me, if you're looking at an area of professional interest and you do not have experience in that area, you may want to prepare very hard on it and then mention it in the areas of interest or fields of interest, so that your CV might have some chances in appearing in the search results. Remember, the recruiter will key in the keywords, and only the keywords which have the relevance with the job description will come up, right? So if you have something written in the fields of interest, it might come up in the search results. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you understand this. Just to confirm if people are listening to me, or am I just talking to the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So language is known. I think it's a waste of space, right? It's an absolute waste of space. I mean, most people would say, I like Hindi, I know Hindi, English, and whatever state you are from, the vernacular language that your mother tongue, basically, right? It's a waste of space. You write languages known when you know at least one foreign language very well, or you write languages known when you know at least 10 Indian languages very well, right? 10 Indian languages, at least 10 Indian languages. Now, 10 Indian languages doesn't mean you know how to say hi and I love you in 10 Indian languages. No, you have to be proficient in those languages. Okay, that's a skill set. So you might want to highlight that, but otherwise it's an absolute waste of space. Okay, so include only if it is relevant. Otherwise, there's no point in writing it. Now, please do add your LinkedIn profile. Remember, most organizations would check up your LinkedIn profile. Most organizations would do that. So please create your LinkedIn profile, right? Complete it, add a professional picture to it, and then put your LinkedIn profile link on your CV. Now, I want to take a pause here and talk about some important aspects, right? Can you imagine how much money a company spends on hiring an MBA candidate? Irrespective of whatever salary you get as after completing your program. But can you imagine how much money goes behind hiring one MBA candidate, irrespective of which company they are from? They would spend upwards of 1 lakh rupees, upwards of 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh easily. Okay, that's the amount that they spend on hiring one candidate. I remember Professor Don was also talking about the background checks, right? And 16%, 1 out of 6 people failed the background checks in the year 2020. There was a study that was conducted in terms of background checks, and 1 out of 6 candidates, 16.6% people failed background checks. So it is very important for the company to hire the right candidate, and they would do a lot of things to ensure that they are hiring the right candidate. Imagine if that's the money they are spending in hiring one candidate and that candidate is not a good hire. Professor Don was mentioning that it can be a very, very expensive proposition, because once a company hires you, it becomes very difficult for them to fire you. So therefore, they would always want to ensure that they are hiring the right candidate in terms of the skill sets, in terms of commitment, in terms of ethics and integrity. All those are extremely, extremely important. Okay. Now, again, if you have any achievements, feel free to write about them. Right. So you do social work. You are a part of National Service Scheme or GUMI or whatever it is. Talk about them. You won some elocution contests, some debates, some quiz contests, some Olympiads. Again, talk about them, right? Talk about your key achievements. So, for example, if you're able to raise 75% of the event sponsorship on your own, talk about that as part of your achievements in your CV. And please, please, please give your present and permanent contact details. Most CVs we see do not have their residential address or their date of birth. The date of birth is important. The residential address is important, along with PIN code, and your marks is very important, right? Of course, your phone number and your email address is mandatory, because most organizations would feed in your CV's details into their databases, right? And these databases have got some mandatory fields, which includes contact details or PIN codes, and you don't want to miss out on this only because you don't have sufficient information in your CV. So that must be given. Now, this is dicey, right? Is a photograph required on CV or not? I find a lot of people talking about this, that I am not going in for a modeling career and therefore my CV is not required. My photograph is not required. Just imagine for the time being that this entire training was done like this, right? If the entire training, this 1 hour session that we are delivering was done like this, what would you feel, right? Big boss is trying to tell you how you should prepare for the interview, yes or no, right? So by adding your picture, you add a familiarity to the whole process, right? The interviewer can see you. Let's not worry about the biasness around this. Have a professional, good photograph clicked and add it in your CV. It makes your CV look very professional, right? You have got your photograph on LinkedIn, you've got your photograph on Facebook, you've got your photograph on WhatsApp, you've got your photograph on Snapchat. Let it be there on your CV as well, right? It makes your CV look much more nicer and familiar when you come to me for an interview, okay? Now, again, there can be different designs. So when we talk about CV, there can be content. So I've been speaking about content of the CV. There's also something called design. And now we've got amazing. Now, don't worry about this color, right? This color is a little too bright. But look at the format of the CV, right? It has got icons and it has got graphs and it has got some nice presentation around. So this makes it look really nice, right? And an interviewer would feel good about looking at the CV, because it also shows that you are presentable. If you're creating a document, that document is presentable. It is you're spending some time and effort on creativity, and you are putting in effort to create a document. You're not just outsourcing your CV and somebody just writes about your key qualifications and send it across for a job. So if I'm receiving a document, if I'm receiving an application, and if that application is presentable, right, I feel good about it. I feel good about the candidate, and therefore I would be more inclined to meet you in person and assess you for a role. Okay. Now, again, some important things, and this is not only for cover letter, but this is also for your CV, right? Please ask yourself, why should they hire you? And I think this is the second most important thing that you should take away from today's session. Why should they hire you? Okay. Always proofread your CV. Ensure that there are no spelling errors at all, right? Most cases, if you have spelling errors in your CV, it might even go into spam. Most CV tracking, so there are application tracking softwares, right? ATS is what we call them, and those ATSs have got features where if there are any errors in the CV, if there are any spelling mistakes in the CV, it automatically goes into reject category, right? So please ensure that you always proofread your CV. Don't make errors. Don't make spelling errors. The common words which are misspelled is experience, is curriculum, right? So don't make those spelling errors at all, please. And don't outsource your CV, right? Make your CV on your own. Do not even give it to a company which says that we can make a professional CV for you for $1,000. Don't do that. Make your CV on your own. Spend enough time on designing your CV, on writing the right words, and ensure that your CV fits into one page. It should always fit into one page. Okay. After 13 years of experience, after working in 5 organizations, 2 different continents, whenever I send my profile, it is still one page. So remember that even if you're 22 years of age, 25 years of age, you have 25 years of experience behind you, right? But you don't want somebody to look at all those 25 years of experience across 5 pages. No, it should be for one page. Because remember, if you're giving me 2 page worth of CV, you are consuming my time. I could have read 2 CVs in that time. Okay, so I don't want you to give me so much information. Give me the information which is relevant for me, for this role from you. Okay. Any questions at this point? Let me take a small pause and ask you if you have any questions at all. If I'm too fast, again, let me know. I think we've covered the entire CV piece. We run this program across multiple hours.
Yes, it's a bit fast, sir.
It is a bit fast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, okay.
If you have any question, whatever Mr. Goel has covered, you can also ask 2 or 3 small questions, and that will be relevant, that will be good, so that it will be interactive. So
Sure.
I request the students, you please ask Mr. Goel. He is inviting the question and session. So please ask the questions. So I request Debolina as well as the other student, if you have any question, you can ask Mr. Goel.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Debolina.
Good evening, sir. I, Devolina Roy, and I extend a very warm welcome to you on behalf of me and my co-host Manis Gop. So, sir, we have noted down some questions on behalf of our batch, first year batch. So, so our first question is that, sir, you said about the topic how to make our CV more interesting. So, our first question is that, in an interview as a candidate, what prominent questions can we expect the interviewer to ask us?
I'll come to that, Debolina. So any questions around CV writing, let me know now. And then I'm still going to talk about the interview piece. What questions can be asked? I'll come to that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any question with respect to how to make your CV right now? No?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So we'll move on. Okay.
On behalf of students, I may ask one question.
Yes, sir. Please.
For the senior position, you see that all this relevant area will come first because they are the experiences, and the personal information will go in the last. So for the students who are applying the jobs, freshers, what things will come first in the CV? This is
So
the
I think,
so that the students can also be benefited.
sure, sir. So I think so there can be various formats, and if you look at different types of formats, one common format could be that you have experiences as your key part of the CV, and on the left hand bar you talk about the key qualifications. So of course the first thing that you should write is your resume headline or your profile snapshot or about me. So I read about you for 2 lines and I get to know very briefly about you. Second, ideally, if you're keeping a vertical format, right, one after the other, the second thing that should come in is the key qualifications. So we can talk about the educational credentials, followed by the internship experiences.
Right.
If you're creating a profile, if you're creating a format which has got 2 columns, sometimes you have a left bar and then you have the a broader bar. So let me go back to this format briefly. Look at this, right? So if you look at this screen, here it talks about achievements. Now again, you may not have achievements here. You put your education on this side, right? Here you may have your education, and here you may have your experience. Okay. So there is no rule in terms of what comes first, because anyways we are encouraging that you have a 1-page CV. Or now if you have a CV like this, right? Whatever comes first, whatever comes last, it would still be visible on a single page.
Okay.
So there can be different formats. I can share some formats also with you offline, which you may want to circulate to the students. That should be okay.
Right. Please, you can give me. I will forward it to the students. Thank you. Okay.
Now, when we talk about personal interviews, right, remember it is in your hands. If you make your CV in such a manner, you can actually design your CV in such a manner that you can anticipate that there would be at least 3 to 4 questions that would be very, very obvious from what you've written in your CV. For example, one of the common things that you can steer in your direction is when you write your fields of interest, right? Now, if you have written something like mergers and acquisitions in fields of interest, at least till this point, as of today, it is not a very common thing that is written under fields of interest. So you may invite questions around your interest is mergers and acquisitions. How is this your interest, right? So that is one. So remember, it is in your hands. Now, when you start the interview process, right, there are some common first questions that you are asked. One of the most common question is, sorry, I'll come to this in a moment. right? One of the most important questions is, tell me something about yourself. Now, what do you say about yourself at the interview, right? And I'm sure many of you might have come across this question. Some of you may even have been told about this. But let me ask some of you, right? Anyone who wants to give me an example of what would you tell about yourself? Any examples from the participants here?
Maybe it will be our education qualification and our field of interest and all.
Right. So again, see,
And
there are variations of this question. One question is, run me through your CV. The second question is, tell me something which is not on your CV. The third question is, tell me something about yourself. So the first question is very clear, right? Run me through your CV. And trust me, it actually happens many a times that I am the business manager. My HR manager had shortlisted the candidate based on the requirements, has given me the CV. Now I am conducting the interview. I've actually not had the chance to go through your CV, right? So therefore, and I might have gone through your CV only for 10-15 seconds because I am busy in my functional work, right? It's not my job to hire you. It's the HR's job, but I still have to take your interview. So therefore, I might say, okay, run me through your CV. So then, of course, you say what is there in your CV. If I have actually gone through your CV in details, I might want to ask you, tell me something which is not on your CV. And when I'm asking you this, tell me something which is not on your CV, you practically have to talk about your personal side. Now, when you say your personal side, you don't start your sob story or you don't start saying what kind of a super person are you, right? You still have to steer your answer in such a way that you're talking about your professional achievements, your experiences, which is not highlighted in your CV. So and again, where will that come from? It will primarily come from your education credentials. How do you prepare for your examinations for that, for example, right? So you say, so for example, I am a person who does not start preparing for the examination 5 months before the exam starts. I'm a person who prepares for the exams probably just about a week before the exams, right? So then how do I succeed in the examination? So I say that, sir, I believe on the logical side of the things, right? When the teachers are teaching me, I try to understand the concepts very well. Therefore, it allows me to have or to create a work-life balance. I don't have to mug through the questions. I don't have to mug through the concepts. Just a week before the exam, I'm able to read them again. I'm able to apply them. I'm able to think how I would apply those concepts in real life. And then I can improvise in the examination hall. That is something about me, but something not on my CV. And it tells him something about me, right? On the professional side. So I'm talking about my logical ability, right? Logical thinking skills. Similarly, I might say that, sir, I'm a very ethical person. I'm very ethically driven, right? I have learned from my parents. My father works in the same company for the last 40 years. And one of the things that I've learned from him is that when I'm working in an organization, I have to bring in commitment and stability into the organization. The company has hired me because it wants to depend on me in a certain way, and I depend on the organization in a certain way as well. So I think one of the critical things that I have learned from my parents is ethics and stability, or ethics and integrity, right? So again, I am talking about some of the traits that I want to bring on the table when I am hired. Okay. Third question is, tell me something about yourself. Now, when I have to say something about myself, this is a very plain vanilla question. Here, I have to talk about what's there on the CV and what's not there on the CV as well. And I have to finish this answer in about 45 seconds, not more than that. Okay. Now, there are some people who say, assuming you would have read my CV. Now, that's not a good statement to start with. Okay. As you know, my name is Vikash Goel. Again, that's not a good statement to start with. Okay. Simply say that, sir, thank you for giving me an opportunity of being here in front of you. My name is Vikash. I am a chartered accountant and a finance professional. I love playing with numbers. And I come from a family background where I come from a modest, humble family background where we value relationships, we value commitment. My dad has been working in the same organization for the last 40 years. And I know that I have to bring in a lot of stability and commitment to the job. I've gone through your website and I saw that one of the things that resonates well with me is that you are a learning-driven organization. And therefore, I feel that it is very important to constantly learn. So while I am here sitting in front of you, if given an opportunity, I'm looking forward to contributing very well to the organization. That's it, right? Now, again, this is something which I just thought of. I haven't mugged up this answer. I did not think about this question or this answer before I came on this session, but that's some of the things that you talk about. You may also want to add that you love playing basketball or you love playing cricket every weekend. But again, when you're saying something about yourself, do not say bullet points, right? So commonly, what do we hear when somebody says about myself? So, good morning, sir. My name is Vikash Goel. I am a student of Calcutta Business School. I am studying my master's in finance there, or I am studying my MBA in finance there. I am from whatever. I am from Durgapur, right? I love playing cricket. I have done my internship in so and so company, and I am very happy to be here. So that's like 7 bullet points, right? Don't talk about bullet points. Take them on a journey. Talk about a paragraph, right? How would you introduce yourself? Feel comfortable. And it's absolutely okay to be nervous. It is absolutely okay to be nervous. When are you nervous? Why are you nervous? You would be nervous in situations which are important to you, right? If the situation is important to you, you would be nervous. And if an organization doesn't want to hire people who are nervous in difficult situations, that's their problem. That's not your problem, mind you. So don't worry about it. Okay? Does that make sense? We'll come to some more questions
Yes,
that we asked, right? I'll go back to some of the slides. I want to talk about some of the areas in the interview. So remember again, and I've said that this is the second thing that you must keep in mind is why should they hire you? Okay? And it's a very common question as well. The organizations, the interviewers may ask you that, Debulina, I have got 4,000 applications coming in for this role. Why should I hire you? Okay, and let's say this is a Goldman Sachs interview for a finance role or for a marketing role in maybe O&M, right? Ogilvy and Mather. Why should they hire you? What would you say? Again, don't talk about yourself. Do not talk about yourself. Imagine if I came here and I've got 45 minutes of airtime talking to some wonderful participants, 60 plus participants here, and I kept on talking about what kind of a big shot I am, right? Would you be interested in hearing that? No, you wouldn't be, right? I mean, even if I'm Shah Rukh Khan of this world, how does it matter, right? You would go buy a ticket and watch a movie. So why should you be here? You should be listening to me because I am here to add some value to you, correct? Similarly, why should they hire you? The answer should be in their language. That, sir, I believe that you are looking at people who would not only be able to do the job that they are assigned in an ethical and timely manner, but also add value to your clients in the long run. So look at the company's careers website, look at the company's LinkedIn profile, and look at what does the company's mission, vision, etc. are. What does the company stand for? Okay. For example, you go to Ernst & Young, and their tagline is, "We ask better questions." Okay. That's the tagline of this company. Now, what does this tagline mean? What does this motto mean, right? They are a professional services firm, and therefore, the more questions they ask, the more answers they are able to get. And it is going to create the future. It is going to help them shape the future. You go to Nestle, they say good food, good life. And look at the logo of Nestle, right? It shows birds. It shows one mother bird and 2 child birds. They're sitting in a nest. So what does the organization talk about? Think of that and tailor your answer accordingly. So look at what does the company stand for. So if you're going to, let's say, a Patanjali, they are talking about organic food and healthy food and preventing the environment. Now, whether they do it or they don't do it, we're not going into that. I'm saying that's what they stand for. That's how they represent themselves, right? So similarly, look at what the company represents and talk about future. Say that, sir, everyone would be able to perform the job that you are going to assign them to. I understand that in the long run, this is the trait that you're looking at, and I will be able to demonstrate those traits in the long run. That's why you should hire me. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? Remember, 87% of the hiring decision is made in the first 5 minutes. 87%. So what happens in the first 5 minutes? They look at you, right? They how you present yourself, how you greet them, how you sit on the chair, etc. And they ask you the first question, which is, tell me something about yourself, right? And the first couple of questions are out. This is what happens in the first 5 minutes. So you really have to make a good first impact. Okay, I have got some videos. Of course, we don't have time to play this video, but there is a very interesting video clip from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. Okay, I want you to, I encourage all of you to watch that clip. It's on YouTube. You can search for it. Interviews seen from The Pursuit of Happiness, and you should think why Will Smith got that job. Okay, he did not get that job because he was the smartest person, etc. He got that job because he demonstrated extremely strong commitment that he wants to learn the business. Not easy, good for the role, but he wants to learn the business. He demonstrates that he needs that job. One of the biggest problems that we are facing as recruiters, as interviewers, is that candidates are not serious about the job that they are going to take. Remember, I told you that a company spends upwards of 1 lakh rupees, right? And now and most candidates lose out on the interview because they ask wrong questions. If a candidate comes to me and asks me, sir, is this a 5-day working week or a 6-day working week? Hello? How does it matter to you? It could be 7 days working week, right? We've created a huge activism around how work-life balance is very important. Yes, it is very important, but don't ask me this question, right? Because that shows me that if there is ever a work pressure and you are asked to work for the 6th day, you would not be comfortable, and therefore I am not comfortable. Right? Sir, is there work from home option available? Again, hello. If it is available, it will be given to you. But I don't want candidates to come to my firm with these baggages, right? You should be free to work. You should be willing to work as and when required. Then, of course, those are HR practices. That is for the HR to think and offer to you. It is a company's responsibility to create great working environment for you, right? But we don't ask these questions at the interview. No. Okay. Again, remember, always reach in time. Right? Keep standing till you're asked to sit at the interview. Maintain eye contact. Right? Don't leave your smile back home, please. It's very, very important to smile at the interview. You have no idea. You have no idea. Only your smile, a smiling face, can enhance the chances of you being selected at the job by 15 to 20%. Only if you have a smiling face. Now, again, a smiling face. Don't push it on yourself. Okay, it should be a natural smile. But yes, it has a huge impact. So try to feel comfortable as much as you can. Okay, know about the company, about the role, about the industry. If you've come to me for the interview and you don't know who's our managing director or what is our business exactly, no, you're not in the right place, right? I'm not happy to hire you. I would not be interested in hiring you. So know about the role, know about the company and the industry. Okay, so tomorrow if you're going into Jubilant Foodworks, what does Jubilant Foodworks does? It operates the Domino's brand in India, correct? You should understand where is this industry heading. Pick up a couple of research reports, pick up Economic Times and read about this industry. It will help you because you're going to be spending your career in this company as well, right? So you should read about the industry also. Remember, never lie at the interview, okay? If you don't know the answer, say that you don't know. Plain and simple. Do not guess. If you are guessing, tell them that, sir, I'm not very sure, but is it okay if I make a guess? I may be wrong, but can I guess? Ask them if you want to guess at all. Okay, do not give a confident wrong answer. Don't be too animated or emotional. Sometimes people start playing their sob story, their agony aunt story, that I have been brought up with a lot of hardships. I come from a tier 2 town where we don't have these benefits, etc., etc., etc. Don't do that. Right? Don't play the emotional card at the interview. At the same time, don't be too animated. Sir, I was born to work in your company, sir. No, I was not born to work in my company myself. How were you born to work in my company? Okay, so don't be too animated. Never ever speak ill about your previous boss. Sir, I did not know the answer because we were not taught mergers and acquisitions well in the college. Or the faculty who was teaching mergers and acquisitions fell sick, therefore our semester was cut short. I'm sure that wouldn't happen, but I'm saying, right, never ever speak ill about your previous boss, about your institute, about anybody at all, about anybody. Okay. So for example, you're asked at the interview, so you completed your internship with let's say PepsiCo. Why haven't you been absorbed there? Sir, they did not have enough opportunities for me, etc. Right? Now again, Don't say that. Focus on what you have learned, right? So I think, so the simple answer could be that, sir, I've had amazing experiences working with PepsiCo. I learned tons of things there, but I think it's time now for me to look at other opportunities and learn and explore what you have to offer, right? Or what I have to learn here. So never say anything negative about anybody at the interview. Your past, your family, your institute, anybody at all. Okay. Now, towards the end of the interview, sometimes you have questions, right? So they ask you, do you have any questions for me? What kind of questions may be asked? So then again, ask forward-looking questions. Questions like, how would my performance be evaluated in this position? What could be the key challenges that I may face in the first 6 months? Right? What are the key team strengths? What is the company's long-term plans? Right? Think about these things. Don't ask questions like, sir, 5-day working week hai ya nahi, etc. Okay? Don't ask feedback about your interview. So how was my interview, sir? Can you give me a feedback? Again, that's sometimes funny, right? I mean, you don't ask the interviewer about the feedback of your interview at the same time. And once the interview is over, as long as you have access to the interviewer, whether it is the HR or the interviewer, right, the business manager, let's say, take a moment to thank them for the time that they have spent with you. Whatever I am able to speak to all of you today is from my experiences, right? So I feel thankful to every candidate who's come to me for the interview and every company which has taken my interview. Those are all learning experiences. So take the time to thank the interviewer and write an email saying that it was an absolute pleasure being in front of you, and thank you so much for the insights and this experience. Irrespective of the outcome of the interview, the experience will be with me forever, right? So thank them for so feel express gratitude, right? And I think that's about it. Now again, what kind of questions may be asked? These are some of the questions. I think I've answered some of them. The rest could be from your domains. There can be some other questions like this. These are rhetorical questions. And how many degrees can there be between two hands of a clock? Now again, this will depend on where you are coming from. Okay. Now there is a technical answer to this, but the technical answer would be able to. I mean, somebody with a very, very strong logical thinking skills would be able to answer this. Right? It's not 0 degree. It's something else. But manhole covers always round instead of square. Why are they? Again, it's not convention. There is a scientific reason to it, so that it doesn't fall into the pit. Okay, so a square can always fall into the pit, but a round cover would not fall into the pit. So that again, these are some of the questions that may be asked. Why does a clock always show 10, 10? Those kind of questions again, right? So. And there could be some managerial questions as well. How would you work with a subordinate who is underperforming? So you have to think on the spot, right, and then give the answer. So I think that's about it from my end, right? I think I am in time, but I think there would be some questions from the participants as well. So happy to address them.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for answering this question, sir.
Thank you very much.
So we have other questions.
Yes, please go ahead.
So I request Manas to put his question. Manas.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. Thank you for the detailed information that we have to mention in our CV, each and everything. That is very important. Like we are going for the next placement, we have to sit on it. So it is very important for us to know these things. The most common questions that we face is that what are our greatest strengths? Answer to this, sir.
What is your greatest strength, Manas? Right, your greatest strength is something that is very personal to you, and you should talk about them. I think when we talk about greatest strengths, of course, it should be something that you have on your own. But the ones that might make more sense than the others could be that again you're driven. Think of all the 12 traits that Professor Suman talked about, right? Your communication skills, your ethical behavior, your integrity, your learning attitude. I think it is one of the most important skill sets that organizations look at, right? Do you have constantly learning attitude? For example, whatever you would be studying or whatever you are studying in your 2 years of MBA program, right? None of it may be relevant after 5 years. So are you constantly learning? And if you are, that could be one of your most important strengths. Okay. And I think you're talking about weakness as well. So once again, talk about weakness, which is something which you're improving upon, right? So you might say that, so one of my weaknesses is that I'm sometimes too research driven. I mean, I'm talking about my weakness, right? That sometimes I'm too research driven. If I am researching on something, I don't look at the time, and sometimes I struggle to meet my deadlines. But now I have started learning that I have to manage my time better and ensure that I'm delivering at the right time. And research is something that takes that I do outside of my work hours for future projects, something like that, right? I mean, it could be, again, it is very personal to everybody. I can share about mine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So
I think that's the same question that somebody asked on the chat as well. Yes.
Yes, sir. So the next question we have got from Shweta Biswas. In an interview, one frequent question we have got, like, what is your salary expectation? What should be the answer to this, sir?
Can I ask from Shweta, what is her answer in general, or what would she say herself? Once again, right? So when you talk about salary expectations, right? Is Shweta there? Can she talk? No. She wouldn't have access, right? Anyways.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
Shweta.
sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
What would you say, Shweta?
Sir, as per the interviews that I have faced till now, sir, I have faced these questions many of times, and this is very difficult to answer, because many a time when we say the expectation, it is not appropriate by the HR, it is not acceptable. So there is a problem, sir. So I am a little confused, sir. So if you just give the answer, sir.
Sure. So again, Shweta, I should not be giving any tailor-made answer, but
Sure,
look at this, right? When I'm talking about knowing about the company, the role in the organization, when you're going in for the interview, you should have researched as to what is the compensation that the entity offers for a person with your experience, right? You must have that information researched very well. It might come from your placement cell. It might come from somebody you know on LinkedIn. It might come from somebody who's working in the organization already, but you must have that idea, right? And accordingly, you may say something which is in the same range. So for example, if you know that the organization offers, let's say 6 lakh rupees to a person with your experience, you say that my salary expectation would be anywhere between 6 and 7 lakhs, right? So give a narrow range. I always prefer that you give a range. Your range should start from the salary that they might be offering, and give a reasonably narrow range. You don't say 6 to 10 lakhs, right? But yeah, but anything between 6 and 7 should be okay. So you need to research on that. I think that's very important. Right, Shweta? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving the answer, sir. Thank you so much.
Pravanjan says, how to fight with nervousness in front of the interviewer. Pravanjan, I already said, right? It is okay to be nervous. You don't have to fight your nervousness. You just have to manage your nervousness. One of the ways of managing your nervousness is to smile, number one. Number two, let the interviewer be aware that you are slightly nervous, and therefore you may want to take a moment to have water or whatever, right? One of the common reasons why we are nervous is because we are running late for the interview. We think we have not prepared enough for the interview, or we don't think that we have enough options for apart from this option. Think of all the three things, right? Don't be late for the interview. Reach in time. You would be able to calm down before you're entering the interview room, number one. Number two, prepare well for the interview, but you should know that there can never be like an absolute preparedness, right? There will always be some questions which you will not be able to answer. That's completely all right. Number three, this is not the last interview that you will be appearing for in your life. This is not the last interview, right? They want you as much as you want them. So when you have these things in mind, your nervousness will come down, is likely to come down. Right? Take deep breaths and look at the interviewer, smile at them. You will feel that the nervousness is fading away. Okay? Take a pause before you answer the question. So I have the habit of speaking fast, as you've seen in today's session. But when the interviewer is asking you something, take 2 seconds of pause, reflect on the question, and then answer. Your answer would be much better. Okay? Yes, other questions. I'm reading the questions in the chat, and I think I can answer them. Debolina and Manish, with your permission. Yeah? So how should one prepare for the tech company? Suppose if a candidate does not have tech degrees, can they apply in tech companies? Again, it's the role that matters and not the companies. I am a chartered accountant, I can go to Infosys, but I would be going in for a finance role, not necessarily a coder role. So of course, I think it's the role that matters and not the company. How do you impress our employer at the time? Again, Anamitra, why do you have to impress your employer? You just have to demonstrate that you're a right fit if you are the right fit. Okay. So again, please understand that it has to be a mutual fit. If you're going in for an organization where you don't like the company, it's better not to join that company. Similarly, if you're going in for an organization where they don't like you, again, it's better not to join that company. So look at the best fit. Don't have to worry about impressing. Whatever we have discussed in the last 1 hour, all of those things will help you bridge that gap, right? Smile at the interview. Now, don't overdress. Sometimes people overdress. Up a lot of makeup, right? Don't do that, right? Wear the right kind of attire and wear your smile, and that's it. That's all you need. Okay. For preparing placement interview on finance companies like PwC, KPMG, what traits a person must have? Basics, again, from the personality, from the presentation, from the presentability perspective, we've spoken about what kind of attire you should have, how you should carry yourself in brief. Second, from a technical perspective, they would ask you questions based on your CV, based on your internship. So whenever you are doing your internship, ensure that you get to the granularity of it. Don't just do the surface level work. They will ask you whatever you have done, whatever you have learned at the internship. And there may be some fundamental questions. For example, if you're talking about finance profiles, they might ask you about what is depreciation, what is price to earnings ratio, what is market capitalization, how do you do ratio analysis. Sometimes also companies also give you some case studies, right? But you've done those case studies in your MBA program. So again, don't take too much stress around it, but focus on the fundamentals and your internship experience. That should be very important and helpful. Okay, Manisha? Yeah. I think I'm done with the questions on the screen. Anyone else has any questions? I think we are running behind time.
Sir, we have got a common questions like in the most of the interview, there is a question like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And
they don't ask you these questions anymore, Manish. They don't ask you these questions because the person who's asking you this question these days would not be able to see himself or herself in the same company as well, right? So times have changed. But yes, if you do come across this question, you say that, sir, I think I'd be working in a senior position in the same organization, right? I believe that we would be serving more clients, we would be getting better feedback, we would be handling a bigger team, and we would be getting more accolades for our work. That's it, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I mean, that's about it. You may talk about your personal side of it as well. So you may say that, okay, I think I should be able to afford a car for myself by that time. Or again, yeah, so don't be too optimistic. Because see, what happens? You might say that, sir, I think I'll become a manager by that time. Now, the problem with this answer is, if the person who's asking you the question was not a manager in 5 years' time, he will not like your answer, right? Yes. So be politically correct. Don't talk too much, but then talk about general, right? We should be getting better feedback for our work, etc.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Isha, I think I've answered that question from Manas. Yes. Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you very much. Right. Absolute pleasure talking to all of you.
There will be yes, Mr. Goel. There will be the vote of thanks, and it is a pleasure, nice meeting with you. And you have covered the resume writing, and you have rightly pointed out the 15 seconds for seeing the brochure, the job description, the importance of the job description also you have covered. The CV must be updated, and 85% is not reading those who are applying, they are not reading the job description, therefore there will be an error. The career objective must be clearly written, and the career advancement, field of interest, that one should know what will be the field of interest. And also the LinkedIn profile, whatever the candidate, he or she must clearly write the LinkedIn profile and also update the LinkedIn profile. Achievements, contacts must also in proper place. It should occupy. Achievements is very, very important. Photograph is required or not, there is a question mark. I think that photograph also be given. And why should I hire you? Why should we hire you? That one should know the answer of this question. And proofreading, always one should always do the proofreading again and again. There must not be any mistake, and one should not outsource the writing a CV. Should not outsource writing a CV. Tell me something about yourself. This is very, very important. The first question will be coming, and you have rightly pointed out that within some second, 15 seconds, that the interviewer or the employer, they clearly set up their mind to whom they will appoint. And the punctuality, reach in time, and also the smiling face, that is very important at the time of interview. One should always have some courage, have some that whatever clear conception in which position he is applying, the job description must have the clear conception, and what is the key strength. So key strengths and weaknesses one should always think about. So in the interview board, the person should ask, the interviewer should ask, what are your key strengths and weaknesses? And team strengths and their roles is very, very important. And also in that last, because the students asked you that down the line 5 years, in which position you will see yourself, because they have asked many questions that the companies, they are asking this question. So that also in down the line, this position, if you will be the sales, if you will be the marketing, you should always think about down the line 5 years, in which position you will occupy. Now, the vote of thanks, you should also, the student, you should also tell about the vote of thanks. I invite Indonil Hajra. Indonil, you are here,
Yes, sir.
Indonil Hajra.
Yes, sir.
Vote
Yes,
of
sir.
thanks. Okay, vote of thanks.
So on behalf of the entire Calcutta Business School, we would like to express our sincere thanks to Mr. Vikas Goyal, the Director of Omnifin, for giving such an excellent coverage to the theme of the session, Grab the Job. This program cannot be completed without your presence. Also, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the guests present today. We're also thankful to the core committee members of Calcutta Business School, Mr. Saurav Ghosh and Mrs. Radhati Bhattacharya, Secretary General of Shiksha Foundation. We'd also like to thank the student committee and for the support and also the supporting staff. I'm also delighted to the faculty members of Calcutta Business School and the faculty members of other colleges, institutes for your participation and suggestion always helps us. Special thanks to our chairman, Mr. Dr. Sir Suman Kumar Don sir for his kind cooperation. Please accept my deepest thanks. Sir, once again, I want to state that we are most grateful to the speaker on this stage. We thank you for being with us in this evening. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Goyal. And also you will enlighten us that also your speech also give much more things, much more addition of values to the students. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Thank you. All the best to all of you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.